Good morning and welcome to Advent Day 16 and to another of our meditations on the person, the identity of Jesus, the baby in the manger. As we come to Christmas, we're so familiar with the idea of the stable with Mary and Joseph and the animals around perhaps and the shepherds and the angels, but it's the person, the identity of the baby which is so important. And we're using some of the names and titles given to Jesus in the Bible as we consider the true meaning of Christmas. And we're continuing this morning in the third of the elements of the stunning statement that Jesus makes in John 14 verse 6. If you remember, having heard Jesus talking about going to heaven and assuring them that they do know the way, Thomas panics. He says, "I don't know the way, Jesus. I don't know how to get to heaven, to follow you there." Jesus says to Thomas, "Yes, you do. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." You know me, don't you, Thomas? Therefore, you know the way. And to that we might add, the disciples felt ignorant. We don't understand, we don't know the facts. And Jesus says, "Yes, you do. I am the truth. Everything you need to know about God is in me. Everything that's pure and true is in me." And then to this statement, "I am the way and the truth," Jesus then adds another title, the one we're thinking about this morning. "I am the life." And what does that mean? There is only one sort of true life, life that lasts. The Bible calls this spiritual life. Sometimes it calls it eternal life. And the only way we can have that life is through Jesus, who is the life. How do you tell the difference between spiritual life and spiritual death? Several years ago we had some chickens. One morning Beth came running back from the chicken coop with a few eggs and the news that one of the chickens was asleep on its back with its legs in the air. Was it really asleep? Chickens are not like sheep. This one was definitely dead. It's normally fairly obvious when something is physically alive or dead. It's not so easy to tell, though, when someone is spiritually alive or dead, because if they're physically alive, it's hard to see. Remember, spiritual life means eternal life. It means being part of God's family and heading for heaven. What's the difference between spiritual life and spiritual death? Listen to Ephesians 2 for God's diagnosis. Paul is writing to Christians, so these were spiritually alive people, and he says to them in Ephesians 2, "As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to exist when you followed the ways of this world, of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, and the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. All of us also lived among them at one time, gratifying the cravings of our flesh, following its desires and thoughts. Like the rest, we were by nature deserving of God's anger." That's the description of everybody who is spiritually dead. But, Paul says, because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ. Even when we were dead in transgressions, it is by grace you have been saved. Left to our own devices, we were spiritually dead because of Jesus, who is the life. If we are in him, we are now alive. If we want eternal life, we are only going to get that through the one who is the life. In these words, Jesus is declaring himself to be the great I am. We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. The only way to heaven, the only truth worth knowing, the only source of spiritual life. That is who is in the manger. Let that fuel your worship today as you get to know him more, praising God for everything he gives to us through Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life.